your car's been acting weird lately. Maybe it's stuttering when you press the gas, maybe the idle feels off, or the check engine light flickered on last week and now it's gone. But something just doesn't feel right. You take it to a shop, they run their diagnostics and tell you everything's fine. But you know it isn't. Something's off. The ride doesn't feel as smooth as it used to. What if I told you there's a simple trick, something you can do with your own hands in under 15 minutes that might reset your car's behavior and bring it back to how it used to run? It's not magic, and it's not a gimmick. It's called an ECU reset, and it might be the easiest and most overlooked fix that can actually work. No tools, no crazy tech knowledge required. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, why it works, and when it's the right move. And just to be clear, this is a legit, real-world solution that actual mechanics and car experts use. Stick with me to the end, because this hack could save you from spending hundreds of dollars on unnecessary repairs. Before we get into how to reset the ECU, let's talk about what it even is. The ECU, short for engine control unit, is basically your car's brain. It's a small computer tucked inside your vehicle that constantly monitors and controls your engine's performance. Think of it like a coach that's always adjusting the game plan in real time, based on how you're driving, what kind of fuel you're using, and even the outside temperature. What's crazy is how much the ECU actually learns. Every time you start your car, it collects data from dozens of sensors around the engine. It uses that data to tweak things like fuel delivery, ignition timing, idle speed, and more. Over time, it starts adapting to your driving style. Maybe you drive aggressively, maybe you coast a lot, maybe you use premium fuel one week and regular the next. The ECU adjusts for all of that. But sometimes it learns the wrong thing. Maybe you had a clogged air filter for a few weeks, or your spark plugs were misfiring. The ECU adapts to that bad behavior. The problem gets fixed, but the ECU doesn't always reset itself automatically. That's when you start getting weird performance issues, even though everything is supposedly working fine. It's like the ECU gets stuck in its old habits, and your car starts running based on outdated information. This is where resetting the ECU comes in. When you reset it, you're essentially telling your car's brain to forget everything it's learned and start fresh. That way, it can relearn based on your car's current condition, not the old issues that used to exist. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is some miracle cure that fixes every car problem. If your engine has a serious mechanical issue, like a broken sensor, a failing alternator, or a cracked manifold, no ECU reset is going to fix that. But if you've already done some maintenance and your car still isn't running quite right, then this might be the trick that gets everything back on track. Maybe you just changed your air filter, cleaned the throttle body, or swapped out your spark plugs, and things still feel off. Maybe the engine stutters when you accelerate, or the idle feels rough. Or maybe your fuel economy tanked for no reason and hasn't bounced back, even after switching gas stations. These are the moments when a reset can really help. What the ECU might be doing is continuing to operate based on bad fuel data or outdated sensor readings or engine behaviors that no longer exist. Resetting it clears out that old memory and lets it relearn everything from scratch. All right, let's get into the actual process of doing this reset. And don't worry, this method is totally safe and works on most vehicles made in the last 20 to 25 years. You don't need any special tools or mechanical skills. All you need is access to your car's battery and a little bit of patience. The first step is turning your car off completely. Take the key out of the ignition, make sure the engine is shut down, and pop open the hood. You're going to disconnect the car battery to cut power to the ECU. That's what initiates the reset. You'll want to start by loosening and removing the negative battery cable, which is the black one. After that, remove the positive cable, the red one. Just make sure you're not wearing any metal jewelry or touching both terminals at once. Now, here's the interesting part. After both cables are off, press and hold the brake pedal for about 30 seconds. What this does is drain any remaining electrical power from the system, so the ECU and other components fully shut down. Some people even leave the battery disconnected for 10 to 15 minutes just to be sure everything gets wiped clean. Once you've waited, reconnect the battery, positive cable first, then negative, and tighten everything back into place. When you start the car again, it's going to behave a little differently. The ECU has no memory now. It's going to relearn how to idle, how to handle fuel and airflow, and how to adjust to your driving style. Let it idle for about 5 to 10 minutes without touching the gas pedal. Don't turn on the AC or headlights. Just let it sit and stabilize. After that, take it for a normal drive. Don't baby it, but don't drive it like you're in a race either. Just drive like you normally would. Over the next 50 to 100 miles, the ECU will recalibrate itself based on real-time data, and if everything else is mechanically sound, you'll probably notice smoother performance, better throttle response, and even improved fuel economy. Once you reset your ECU, your car doesn't instantly become perfect. In fact, right after the reset, it might actually feel a little worse for a few minutes. This is totally normal and nothing to worry about. Here's why. When you clear the ECU's memory, you're essentially erasing all of the data it had about how to best run your specific engine. That includes learned idle speeds, fuel-air mix adjustments, throttle response behavior, and even how your transmission shifts if your car is an automatic. With all that wiped out, the ECU goes into a sort of learning mode. During this period, which usually lasts anywhere from 50 to 100 miles of regular driving, the ECU starts recollecting data from all the sensors around your engine. It's watching things like how much air is coming in through the intake, how hot the engine runs, what kind of fuel it's dealing with, and how you press the gas and brake pedals. This means you might notice some small things at first. Maybe the RPMs bounce a little when you come to a stop. Maybe the acceleration feels a bit sluggish or too jumpy. The transmission might shift at awkward times for the first few drives. This is just the ECU trying to figure out what works best with your engine in its current state. One helpful tip is to avoid hard driving during this period. Don't redline the engine, don't slam the gas, and try to keep your driving style as steady as possible. This gives the ECU clean, reliable data to work with. The more stable your inputs are, the faster and better the system will learn. If you drive erratically right after a reset, the ECU might start making weird adjustments that don't help in the long run. Also, make sure all your maintenance is up to date before you reset. If you reset the ECU with a clogged air filter or a bad sensor still in place, it's just going to relearn based on that broken input. And that's why so many experts recommend doing this only after you've made repairs or completed basic tune-ups like spark plugs, sensors, throttle body cleaning, or fuel system cleaning. Resetting before those are fixed can cause the ECU to relearn all the wrong data again, making your issues even worse. One more thing worth noting, many newer vehicles have what's called a long-term fuel trim setting. This adjusts how much fuel is injected based on your car's ongoing performance over time. When you reset the ECU, you also clear these long-term settings. If your car had adapted to compensate for a fuel issue and that issue is now gone, a reset gives your system a clean slate to optimize fuel usage again. The reason this works so well is because modern ECUs are built to adapt, but they're not perfect. Sometimes they latch onto faulty sensor readings or adjust too heavily to temporary problems. Resetting gives the system a fresh start and lets it reanalyze your engine's real-time behavior with no baggage from the past. That said, this won't solve issues caused by broken parts or ongoing mechanical failures. If you reset the ECU, but there's still a bad O2 sensor or clogged injector, the problem will just come back. That's why it's important to see a reset as a diagnostic step, not a cure-all. If you try this and things improve, great. It was probably a data issue. If the same problems come back, then it's time to dig deeper and maybe scan for error codes. Also, if you've got a custom tune installed like a performance chip or a flash tune, don't reset the ECU unless you're 100% sure it won't erase the custom programming. Some vehicles will revert back to stock settings after a reset, which could mess up your performance setup. Always double check with your tuner if you've modified your ECU. There are a few other methods to reset the ECU depending on your car brand. Some people pull the ECU fuse from the fuse box instead of disconnecting the battery. Others use scan tools like OBD2 scanners to clear memory directly through the car's data port. Apps like Blue Driver or FixD let you plug in a Bluetooth scanner, connect to your phone, and clear codes or even reset the ECU that way. These tools are great, especially if you want to read and clear trouble codes without erasing everything else. But for most people, the battery disconnect method is easy, free, and just as effective for a basic reset. So should you try this ECU reset hack? If you've been dealing with weird engine behavior, you have already done some basic maintenance, and things still aren't quite right, absolutely try it. It's free, safe, and takes less than 20 minutes. Worst case, nothing changes. Best case, your car starts running like it did the day you bought it. Just remember, this isn't a band-aid for real issues. If you're ignoring serious warning lights or skipping out on needed repairs, a reset won't save you. But if the problem lies in old data or temporary adaptation issues, this could be exactly what your car needs to reboot and breathe again. If you tried this and it worked, or even if it didn't, I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. What kind of car do you drive? What issues were you having before and after the reset? And if you're into real car advice without the fluff, stuff that actually works, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I post weekly tips that can save you time, money, and frustration on the road. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.